What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Spincast. I'm CJ Collins. With me, William Perry, with Maclay Private School Esports team. Glad you could be here today, Will.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So just give the viewers a basic background, who you are, and how you kind of got into this space.
I am a math and science teacher, mainly physics, like you said, at Maclay School, Tallahassee, Florida. I've been a gamer pretty much my whole life because when I was born was when Nintendo was getting its start. So it's been around my whole life, which was kind of cool. And when I started working there, I had a reputation as being like the teacher who games. So I was approached about 4 or 5 years ago by some students who were like, hey, there's a local high school. They have an esports team. And we think it would be really cool if we could, have an esports team too, so we can compete against them. They didn't really have any aspirations beyond that. And I was like, I don't really know how esports works, but I'd be happy to see what I can do for you. And here we are. So, five or so years later, program's still going strong and helping to spread esports as much as I can in Florida. So.
Awesome. Yeah. What does the ecosystem in Florida for high school esports look like? I really have no idea.
It is weird. Florida is a very long state.
Yeah.
Just geographically speaking, for your viewers who aren't aware, feel free to look at a map. It is a weirdly shaped state. And because of that, there are a lot of different things going on. Some of the counties have decided to do their own thing with their own independent leagues. And at the same time, I'm working with a group called Play Versus to kind of expand more at the state level and kind of bring everybody together if we can. Because I would love to see an actually sanctioned esports thing in the state of Florida.
Sure.
And they're kind of helping us do that, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard a lot about Play Versus, and I think that they have a pretty dope program for some of the things they're trying to do. Talk to me a little bit about what that looks like from the, because I've seen the localized level of what it looks like. Hey, 10 schools in a conference come together and they're like, hey, let's play in this league that we kind of create and we govern, and all the administration kind of comes through us. But when you have a top-down organization like Play Versus, what does that really look like for the scene, regionally?
It's kind of nice, I will admit, because for the first couple of years, this is only our first year really with Play Versus.
Sure.
So for the first couple of years, we were trying to take care of everything ourselves. And I have a hard enough time coaching the multiple teams, let alone trying to organize everything else that goes into that.
Yep.
How other people do that, I have no idea. But, they kind of take care of, we're going to take care of the rules. We're going to take care of making sure that everything runs smoothly. We're going to talk to the developers, so there's no chance that somebody's going to pull their copyrighted game at the last second, which is beautiful, because that just happened with League of Legends last year, where a bunch of people just lost their ability to compete. And we don't have to go looking for people to play against. They kind of set up the schedule. They keep track of wins and losses. When it's game day, my students literally just log on and they're like, hey, your game is ready. So they just log in, they play. Everything is just very automated, and it makes it easy. It makes it very easy from my standpoint.
Cool.
Which is, brilliant, because I'm doing 8 other things in addition to this.
So so Play Versus comes in from a state perspective, do they give you is it regional from hey, I'm playing schools that are nearby to me, or how do they divide?
Yeah, they try to keep it nearby. Okay. So they've partnered with state organizations and a national organization to kind of organize this thing and create almost a varsity sport feel, as if you were a football team or a basketball team.
Sure.
And because of that, I'm facing basically schools that are geographically near me when possible. And if not possible, then they'll find someone else who's a little further away. But, they try to set up statewide championships and all those other things, just like we were a varsity sport.
Cool. Awesome. talk to me a little bit about your program specifically. What games are you in? And then if you want to go into how you kind of manage those teams and those players.
It changes from year to year. When I first started, my students were very into the idea of playing League of Legends, and my group right now is not so much into that idea. Overwatch has been a big draw for my program. Students are very interested to compete in Overwatch. And we've had a Rocket League team and Smash. We started as a Smash club, actually, Super Smash Brothers. So we just kind of started as a school program where we were practicing that kind of tournament scene, and then that game has just kind of stuck around.
It's just the community is so strong for Smash. Totally get it.
It like really is. Yeah. As somebody who played the first game when it came out, I had no idea that things like this existed. So when that was brought to my attention and my students were going to tournaments on a weekly basis, I was like, wow, that's incredible. So, we've started kind of toying with the idea of creating online tournaments for that, because it's kind of easier to do right now since we can't be face to face. So we're kind of toying with the idea of doing that, having like a local tournament, but then streamed through our Twitch channel. So it's a crazy, crazy time for that. But that's the nice thing about esports, is it's really easy to do something completely virtual and not have to worry about, well, how do we get everyone together? Because you don't have to. But those are the big draws. From time to time, I'll have students who want to play more mature titles. And we try to kind of stay away from that as an organization, just because there is stigma attached to it, not necessarily because I think anything negative about those games. I play some of them myself, but I still let them kind of hang out with the rest of the teams, and we don't like endorse them, but we still kind of, they're still part of my gaming group.
Got it. Yeah. And I totally see that. And we see that a lot in colleges, right? They'll have a varsity program. And then with that varsity program, there's the club for maybe people that didn't make it on the team that still want a gaming community. And that the demand for that totally exists. So I get it. I think that's a really awesome idea, just to be able to keep those guys close. What about the recruitment process? I know that like Overwatch has 6 or 7 different roles, essentially. You need subs, and League of Legends is the same. And obviously your group's not that anymore, but like, how do you deal with, filling people into those roles? Do you train them, or what does that look like?
I have always operated my programs with the idea that as much as I want to micromanage what they're doing from an educator standpoint, I just can't be as involved in all those games as I would like to be. I have a toddler, so like the idea that I'm gonna be able to hop on and practice Overwatch, I'm sure I have a couple of updates waiting for me the next time I boot up that program, but the idea that I'd be able to do that, I just don't see it happening. So what I've done is I've kind of installed captains, like you almost would for a sports team, and they help me run things. They help me run the Discord for my program. They help me organize practices and develop strategies and stuff. And when they play, if they're playing at home, I'll kind of jump on the Discord and listen to them play, and I'll watch if they want to like stream it themselves. But I try not to micromanage, because I do believe that they probably know more than I do about these games. And that's what happens when you get old, I guess.
No, it makes sense. I think that what you're talking about is a thing a lot of coaches, are kind of in the position. And I'm curious, does Play Versus have a curriculum to support strategy or anything like that? Do they support you guys from a coaching perspective in that way?
They are continually building their infrastructure. So I'm a part of what they call the Super Coach program.
Okay.
They just sent me a bunch of swag for it in the mail the other day, which was kind of neat.
That's dope.
But basically the idea is we help the organizations at a state level, because they're, at a national level, and just kind of help develop the community. There are other super coaches who offer like little clinics, and there are scrimmages between coaches. So when you become a coach, they let you into their Discord, and then they'll do like coaching teams where, okay, we offer League of Legends. If you want to play League of Legends on a team, we'll create teams for coaches and a little tournament just for the coaches. So that way you can kind of understand how the game is working from a player perspective, which for a lot of these games is hard to do, especially because a lot of gamers are introverts and don't want to have big groups of friends to hop in on. That's how I am anyways.
Cool. I didn't know that there was like this super, what'd you call it?
Super coach.
Super coach.
It's a
cool. Yeah. Did you have to like apply? Like, how does that process work to become a super coach?
You can apply. You can apply. You can actually look it up on their website, and they are always looking for new ones. For me, I had gotten involved with Play Versus a year and a half ago through my athletic director.
Okay.
I had brought to him the attention of the esports program because I wanted to keep it.
That's where it goes.
We're competing. Let's see what the other groups on campus are doing.
Yep.
And he was like, hey, I had just been approached by this group, Play Versus. I don't know about esports at all. Can you help me interpret? Because, he was an old school guy. And so video games, he didn't know. And I started talking to them. And they were like, hey, we really want to break into Florida. Can you help us do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And it just kind of ballooned from there. And it's been a crazy couple of months, especially.
Gotcha. So they pretty much rely on the local level to be able to support everything from the state perspective, right? To be like once they
their program and stuff, their platform works at all levels. So like, I'm not sitting there trying to make matches, but they do understand that from their position as an organization, they can't really understand the dynamics of every state by themselves. Them coming into a state and saying like, hey, sign up with us, that seems kind of sketchy. But if they have people who can vouch for them at the state level and be like, yeah, this is a great thing to be a part of. And to help them understand that Tallahassee and West Palm Beach, that's like 500 miles apart. So those are very different places. It's just been kind of cool to see an organization that understands that that's what they need. They need a better understanding of what happens at the state level, and also, someone to kind of be an ambassador for their program.
Got it. Cool. Is there like an ambassador meeting or anything like that happens where you kind of like come together?
We, on a monthly basis, we try to get together. We have these little meetings with some of the admins at Play Versus. They talk about what we're seeing, what they would like to implement.
Got it. Cool.
They're gonna have Overwatch as part of their platform for the first time this fall, and they told us about it ahead of time to kind of gauge how that's going to work. Oh yeah, we are super excited. When I told my kids this summer, their eyes just kind of lit up. Well, I assume they did. I only told them in the Discord, but they were really, really excited. So it's going to be nice for them.
Good.
But yeah, we do kind of have our own little Discord so we can talk about these things away from prying eyes and kind of help to create a stronger organization. Because, I think at the end of the day, everyone involved in esports, that's really all we want. We want esports to be this strong, thriving, amazing thing that it is, and for everyone to realize that. And that's what I want. I would love for every high school to have an esports team, because why not?
Yeah, I mean, it helps you. I wonder, so before COVID, did you guys do any like LANs? Like you guys came together with other schools and played against them or anything like that?
That was in the works. It was something I wanted to do. I wanted to create a little Tallahassee tournament with as many of the schools that I could get signed up. Yeah. And I had a couple who were interested, and then just like that. So, that's where I'm trying to figure out how I can do that digitally and get the word out. And, it's difficult because the people who help organize it are also just as stressed as all the students are. Which I don't think my students really understand how stressful it is for us, but to tack that on is understandably difficult. But that is something I would love to just have a day where people come in, we play games together in a tournament type fashion, because why not?
No, it makes sense, because like, especially like with Play Versus and you being a super coach for them, right? That would make sense, because you from the local level would maybe grab up some of those schools that have additional interest and create that LAN maybe for Play Versus, and then they can kind of come in and support it, right?
Yeah, and they have told me that they would be very willing to help me figure out all of those dynamics, which is great because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just figuring out how to do that and keep everyone socially distanced and everything else. I don't know.
Yeah. Right now it's tough. And the same thing for us. So on the other side of the business that we have, we run a lot of lands, and like that whole side of everything is just like, we've honestly stopped it all and we do everything online now. So it's like, it's, COVID. Hopefully when this ends, I'm so excited because I think there's so much potential for different land opportunities to happen once again, especially because we've gone through this kind of digital resurgence of esports, right? And I'm sure you've seen it from your perspective.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was watching the other day, there was a Red Bull sponsored Fall Guys tournament, and just the idea that you have an organization like Red Bull sponsoring a video game tournament is just like, to me, it's mind blowing that that's a thing that happens, but it makes sense because, the other sports can't really do anything right now. So why not?
So taking a step back I want to look at your tryouts and your recruitment thing. So you have a student that comes up and says, hey, like a new game like Valorant, I really want to play this. You got to fill a roster. How do you kind of go through that? Give me your process for what that looks like.
For the most part, what I do is I will kind of put out announcements and things at my school, and I'm like, hey, we have an esports program, and we've been around long enough that some of the people who've been at the school longer already know.
Yeah.
And if they're interested, they actually seek me out now, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's super cool.
I say that, and I get them to kind of meet all at once, so I can be like, this is how everything works. If they want to become a part of the program, I have a waiver that the parents sign just to make sure that they're aware that, we have a Discord and it's possible that I'm talking to their kid after school, because just want to make sure. And then after that, I lean very heavily on my captains because a lot of them are seniors and have been around for a little bit. So we have these kind of things established, and they find out kind of within the pre-existing team that exists, what kind of roles would they best fill. And, they'll play a couple of games with them as part of the team, or have them watch a couple of games so that they get a feeling for how best they fit in.
Got it.
And I tend to want my seniors to play more just because, it's their last hurrah. But I have, sometimes told my seniors to sit out for a freshman who just happens to be better at the game. It depends. But, I do understand that the captains will understand better how the team dynamics work.
Yeah.
On that level, and try to find places for them. If we have enough, then we'll have, like a junior varsity type team, which I think happened one year. We had a junior varsity type team that just kind of competed on their own. And, we see how that goes. If there are new games that pop up, I try to see if there's anything we can do to kind of bring them into the kind of club fold. But, if there's not a platform I have available for them, there's not a whole lot I can do otherwise.
Sure. What about local colleges in the area? Are there colleges nearby that you guys have kind of connected with in order to?
We have a lot of colleges in the area.
Yeah.
FSU is the big one in Tallahassee.
Oh yeah, that's
they do have they do have an esports club. I don't think their club is as established as some of the other ones. That was one of the things I was going to do before COVID was start reaching out to them to see if I could get them involved in our local tournament.
Sure.
But I haven't done that yet. That is on my to-do list. And then I don't know about, I think it's 3 or 4 colleges in the area. So reaching out to them, I have students who have matriculated from our school to theirs. And so I outreach to them from time to time to see if they know anything about that kind of scene, but it's been difficult lately.
Sure. Have you seen anything with any of your players getting recruited into college? Anything like that?
Not so much being recruited into college. I know that I have a couple who have gone on and they do a lot of streaming for themselves.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And they are part of the competitive scene. I just don't know if they're so much in a college program.
Got it.
Realistically, I think my seniors only go 2 years back because they started the program when they were younger. but I'm sure that moving forward, I'm definitely going to have some. I've actually reached a level, because I write a lot of recommendation letters for my team.
Yeah.
When they apply to colleges, I've actually reached a level now where they're like, "Oh yeah, talk about the esports stuff."
Okay.
Whereas before they were like, "No, maybe not so much," because
Huh.
I don't want the college to think negatively of me. And now they're like, "No, I want them to know that I've taken this like huge leadership role in this thing that is established." So, maybe I will have more who get recruited into that level.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. I think we've talked a lot about a lot of different things in Florida, and I have a I think that you have an awesome program, and I'm excited to see what comes out of Florida from you, Will. If you want to do any shout outs, anybody that you think might be watching that you want to say hey to, maybe the kids or anybody else?
Yeah, it would be cool if they found their way to this podcast. I'm sure I'm going to hype it in my Discord and through my school's Twitter once it gets out there. If anybody ever wants to email me about esports in Florida, wperry@maclay.org, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, because like I said, I want to help this thing grow as much as I can.
Yep.
And that's what I want to do. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, I would really love to get a program set up at my school, I've done it. So I'm happy to help you in any way that I can.
That's awesome. Do you have a Twitter?
I don't.
Just curious.
Like I said, I am a huge introvert, and I keep toying with the idea of getting one, but also the idea of me going out there at the end of the day and talking to more people is not so much.
I got it. Cool.
But yeah, maybe one day. But for now, email's fine.
All right, that's awesome. Well, thanks for checking out this episode of Spincast. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Peace. Bye. Cool. That was awesome, man. I think that what you have going on in Florida is so dope. I'm super excited. I'm curious, do you have any like rivalries behind the scenes at like schools that you guys consistently play against that are like in your back door?
We have just school-wide rivalries, and those are the ones who were right on board with us doing a tournament, and they've just kind of fallen flat right now.
Okay.
But yeah, we have some stuff in the works for that I think is going to be great if we can get some like huge rivalry games going. And Play Versus has actually developed a rivalry program. So if you play against a team and you're like, man, I want to keep playing against them, you just like click a button and they'll help you continually set up little skirmishes with them. So I love to see the idea that esports is becoming that thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. If there's any of the other coaches that that want to be able to plug their program, come talk about what they're working on within that Florida community, we would love to talk to them and be able to put them on the podcast as well, so that they can get out there.
I'll definitely do that. And I've also kind of forwarded some of your information to the super coach people with the idea that once this happens, if they want to, from their program's perspective in other states, if they want to reach out to you, that might be a thing that helps you too. I don't know. Okay,
cool. Well, thank
I didn't know what you were looking for, so I hope that's okay.
No, that's fine. No, I don't mind. I mean, I've talked to a lot of different coaches. And did I lose you? Will? Oh, sorry. It froze. You froze completely. No, that's great. I'm happy to talk to them if they, want to talk to us about the Charlotte scene. One of the things that I do personally outside of Stay Plugged In is I'm doing the same thing you are, right? But I do it from a different perspective, right? So I grab all of the high school coaches here, which predominantly here it's high school esports league. There's not a lot of
Yeah, well, we used to do that. Yeah. And I was very frustrated with the way that they set up games.
Okay.
And that's kind of why we turned away from them a little bit, just because I would have days where my students came in and were like, well, we were going to play last night and then they forfeited. And I was like, I can't do anything because I just sponsor. So taking it a step further and becoming a coach was kind of part of our switching reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely get the allure of them. And if we have clubs that can't play on Play Versus, I'll still let them play on HSEL. But I don't know. I don't like their platform as much.
Sure. Yeah, and and that's what I hear. Like you're either kind of high school esports league or play versus. There's kind of you're either one or the other.
It is a very different feel, but
Yeah,
I
and for
definitely
me
understand the allure of both.
yeah, for me personally, I'm just like whatever works for them. Like
Oh yeah,
whatever grows esports. Like I'm like cool play versus cool high school esports league because we just want to see it grow. For us,
definitely.
for just to give you a little bit of perspective for us, we developed a little bit of curriculum around esports, and we're
Oh,
called
that's awesome.
yeah, virtual learning support center, right? Essentially what we
Mm-hmm.
did. So all of our students were online. So from essentially 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., they come in, the students come, 30 of them into here, and they essentially do their online classes they would normally for school, right?
Wow.
Then at 2:30, we transition it and turns into esports class. So it's like an extra.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we'll teach them how to cast, how to do production, how to do, basic skills within the game, how to pursue a career outside of what you think is what they want to be, right? Not everybody's going to be a professional gamer. If anybody, like the 0.001% is going to be the professional gamer, right?
Right.
So, we want to be able to give them other careers, right? Game development, casting everyone needs casters for all their tournaments, right? And you can make some good money doing some casting stuff. Producing the tournament, nobody knows how to do that really, really well from the high school perspective, especially, right? So we are kind of teaching, and that's kind of what our mantra is. We just want to help everybody and teach them how to do all these specific tasks within here.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. And that's a little bit why I alluded to play versus, and like I was curious what kind of curriculum they have, because it's like we can support you guys in some of that stuff, but if it's already built out for them, their perspective, that's great.
They're currently building that stuff up. Like they're a younger organization. I think they're like 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've kind of been catapulted forward by their how they've partnered with the different states and the national sports organizations.
Yep.
But yeah, they're constantly trying to build up these this idea that they want to create more esports programs, and they want to create casters and things like exactly what you're saying. So I can definitely pass that along to them that you guys are doing this, and maybe they'd want to talk to you, because that sounds awesome. That sounds exactly like some of the stuff they want to do.
Yeah, sure. That sounds very great. That sounds awesome. I love it. Cool. Well, I've enjoyed talking to you, Will. I want to keep in touch. We normally do a follow-up thing in a couple months to see where you're at and see where you've grown and what kind of direction you're going. So expect that. And any of those coaches, I'm just curious, what are the names of those schools that have, like your potential rivalries that might want to do like this?
In our area, Childs High School has an esports team, because there are only 3 of us right now that are established esports programs. And St. John Paul II, JP2 is fighter, another one. Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but they're actually the ones who had it before us, and my kids were like, "Oh, we want to play against them. We know we can beat them." And those are the ones I was trying to pull in before this thing all happened. So,
who are the coaches over there?
One of their last names is Clark, and the other one is I don't remember. Okay. I keep trying to email them, and I just honestly, on top of that, I'm running like 3 other organizations for my school and teaching a bunch of AP classes. So right now my brain is just fried. This is my first day off in like 3 weeks.
Well, I hope you stay sane. I hope everything with all this stuff, it sounds like there's a lot of cool ovens in the fire. If we can be of any assistance, I know it sounds like you have an awesome network of people supporting you, but if we can help, we're more than happy to do so. So, a phone call away, whether it's advice, myself particularly, we manage a professional team from the Charlotte Phoenix perspective, right? So coaching tips or anything like that, I'm more than happy to share all the lessons I've learned.
That's awesome.
Feel free to reach out to me at any point, and I'll send an email, just kind of a follow up to this conversation after this. Okay.
Sounds great.
Awesome. It was great talking to you, man.
Good talking to you too. Thank you.
Bye.